And I'm just going to plug real quick. If y'all want to help volunteer to make these events happen, come up to me or Beverly or Bailey after, and we'll get you plugged in. So tonight we're going to hear from Don Huffines. He's a businessman, former state senator, and now gubernatorial candidate. He's a lifelong fighter for liberty and conservative principles, and now he's fighting to fire our Rhino governor, Greg Abbott. So please join me in welcoming Don Huffines.
Hello, Patriots.
Hello.
Hello, Patriots. Are we having fun tonight? All right, great. It's a great day to fight for liberty. And the good news is we can do it tomorrow.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you guys are so lucky to have a true Texas project here in Amarillo. These guys and these girls up here that are running are just doing a fantastic job. They're opening chapters across the state of Texas, as you know. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my bio, and also I'm going to tell you why I'm going to win and be your next governor. I'm going to pull the curtains back a little bit for you, tell you about my experience in the Texas Senate. On April the 18th of this year of 21, a 28-year-old lady and her husband and her 11-month-old went to church in Dallas, Texas. And the church was still scared of the Wuhan, so they were meeting in the gymnasium. So they sat in the far back right-hand corner of all the chairs, 2 at a time, 10 feet apart. And she wasn't feeling good, so she took her mask off. The preacher, he walks by and says, "You need to put that mask back on." She said, "I'm not going to do that because I've got morning sickness with baby number 2. And she's holding baby number 1. Well, the service goes on, and she goes up and gets communion, and she comes back, and she's kneeling and praying in front of the chair, holding the baby, and she feels somebody tugging on her neck. And she turns around, and there's 3 Dallas policemen standing above her, telling her that she's going to jail, or they're going to tase her in the middle of the service.
Wow.
Because she didn't have a mask on.
Wow.
Well, her husband, he's a pretty calm fella, a lot calmer than I'd be. And he pulled out the video camera, started videoing it a little bit on the cell phone, and he talked them to taking it outside, and they did. They wrote her a ticket outside, took a picture of her license plate, and told her if that car ever came back on, she'd be arrested for trespassing. A church they've been going to for on and off for 20 years because she didn't have a mask on. Well, the video did go viral. A million Americans saw it because they really couldn't believe it would happen in America. And more than that, they couldn't believe it would happen in Texas.
That's right.
In Texas.
Right.
Well, that 28-year-old's my daughter, Deirdre. And this is the shocking part about it, is that it happened in Dallas. I blame it on Greg Abbott.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
He's an enabler.
Yep.
He's the one that enabled the leftists that have taken over our churches, our seminaries, our schools, our media. He's the one that made a medical condition a political condition.
Right.
And he's empowered them to what they've done to us.
Yep.
You know, if you drive the getaway car and you're robbing a bank, you get the same penalty as the guys that go inside. That's a fact. You're an enabler. Well, I'm Don Huffines, and I plan on being your next governor of Texas. I'm a 5th-generation Texan. I was born in Dallas, Texas, and grew up in the Metroplex. I'm a lifelong conservative activist. I'm a businessman. And the best thing that ever happened to me is 34 years ago, is sitting right back there, my perfect wife, Mary Catherine. Wait, Mary, there she is, right back there. We have 5 children, 4 boys and a girl. We homeschooled all of our children to make sure they could grow up in a good conservative Christian environment, and they did. Now we're grandparents 4 times over now in the last 19 months. So Deirdre just had that baby she was pregnant with 2 weeks ago. It's a new chapter in our lives, and I know people that are grandparents know that too. It's a great chapter.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
It really is. And Just bragging my boys. All 4 boys were Eagle Scouts, for instance, and I was the scoutmaster, and it was a great chapter in our lives. But my political career started when I was a teenager. And there was something, and I remember clearly, I was about 17 years old, and my parents were not political. They were not even Republicans. But there was always something burning in me that I always say is probably burning in all of y'all. I call it the flame of liberty. It just, sometimes you just can't put it out. It burns so bright and it's heavy on you. And so I decided there was more to life than what I was experiencing. So I wanted to make sure I joined up with the Reagan campaign to volunteer a little bit with them while he was running against Gerald Ford. And I went to my first Republican county convention when I was 18, about 2 weeks, And so I've supported a lot of candidates over the years, for decades. I've been active. I've been to many state conventions, and I've been to 3 national conventions. And have you ever met a Republican that didn't say he was conservative? No, have you? They don't exist. They don't exist. Well, I was tired of it. I donated thousands of dollars to candidates and causes for 35, 40 years. And I was tired of the lies. I was just tired of it. Well, in 13, there was a trophy on the wall that I didn't have. I love my guns. I got so many, I can't count them all.
Amen. Amen.
But there was the blank space on the wall, and I really wanted it. Because I was tired of yelling at that TV. And it was a trophy rhino. And he was sitting in Senate District 16. So I knocked him out. In 142 days, he was a career politician, 25 years in elected office. He ran Dallas County, and he was the most liberal Republican in Austin. So I was in the Texas Senate from 14 to 18. I got knocked out in 18 when the Democrats finished taking over Dallas County. We have 3 elected Republicans in the whole county out of probably 90 partisan positions. Trump got maybe barely 30% of the vote in the county. A few things I got done down there I just want to tell you about. I was always ranked one of the top 3 most conservative state senators the sessions I was there, the 2 sessions I was there. Also, according to the Secretary of the Senate, I'm the only elected office holder that's been in Austin that never took any money from the state of Texas. No pay, no pension, no nothing. Thank you. I mean, I didn't even get any reimbursements. I didn't even use their office furniture. It was really ugly anyway. But I did that for a reason. That's because the government didn't hire me. The people hired me.
That's right.
I work for the people.
Right.
And I'm going to do the same thing when I'm your governor of Texas. I'm not going to ever take any money, pay, pension, or anything else. Also, I uncovered one of the largest political corruption scandals in modern Texas history. It was an obscure government agency in Dallas County. It was just in Dallas County. But it was big. It was really big. They had 3,000 employees, over $100 million annual budget. It was an elected board. And the more I dug into it, the more I just uncovered a nest of corruption. They were stealing tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions, not just hundreds of thousands. I got the Texas Rangers involved, then we got the FBI involved, and the bottom line is we got 6 people put in prison, including the sitting mayor pro tem of the City Council of Dallas. And they're all in federal prison.
Amen.
Wow.
Thank you. I got a bill done down in Austin to get rid of them so they don't exist anymore, which was great, but it was real difficult. Because let me tell you about the swamp. The swamp in Austin is every bit as deep as the one in Washington. It's a very vindictive place. It really is. And I got a PhD in the swamp. Right after inauguration in 2015, leadership comes into the Texas Senate. You probably know there's 31 state senators. When I was there, there was 20 Republicans, 11 Democrats, and we represent more than a congressional district. Anyway, leadership comes burst in the room the day after inauguration. They called a meeting for everybody in there. There's 31 of us. And welcome, senators. Welcome to the most exclusive club in the state of Texas. There's less than 150 of you still alive.
Wow.
And this is the most special place you could ever be. Your loyalty always lies with your fellow club members. You will never do anything to hold them accountable. You will do nothing to embarrass the Texas Senate or the Texas senators. And you're just so lucky to be here. We got our own lunchroom, and it just went on and on about it. And I was sitting there thinking in my head, I wonder if I'm the only person in here that always wondered why they call legislators members. You ever wondered why they call them members? I always did. It didn't take long to find out. But they don't wonder that. They know why they're called members. Because they are the elitists. They are the know-it-alls. And what matters to them is what their fellow club members think of them.
Yep.
Well, I ran in 13 because I was tired of our elected office holders ignoring this document, my second favorite document. This is our Republican Party platform. How many of y'all been to a state convention? There we go. Bunch. Good. Quite a few. If you haven't been, you should go. And if you're not familiar with the platform of the Republican Party of Texas, you can Google it up and print it out. It clearly defines who we are as Texas Republicans, and it clearly states what our legislative agendas are every session. And there's 300 planks in there. Well, our elected office holders often ignore that. Let me give you an example. In 2015, actually the very next week, I went to my first Republican Senate caucus meeting. We meet 20 of us, we meet in a restaurant. And so I tell everybody we need to work on constitutional carry. That's the priority of the Republican Party. It's the number one priority of the Republican Party. And you would have thought I was trying to kill their mother. I mean, they left the dining room table, they left the meeting, they demanded I apologize to them the next morning. They couldn't believe that I was going to try to hold them accountable to vote on the number one party platform issue, constitutional carry.
Wow.
I was cussed at on the floor of the Texas Senate more than I've ever been in my adult life by Republicans. By Republicans.
Wow.
Well, have you ever seen our governor talk about this document?
No.
Have you ever seen him mention it?
No.
You never will. You never will. I want to point out to you one thing important for my talk tonight. If you get your main takeaway, besides vote for me, is the governor of Texas can get almost any bill done he wants anytime he wants.
Right.
He's the governor of Texas.
Right.
He's the leader of the Republican Party. So all this angst about all this legislation that we can't get done, about stopping sexual genital mutilation of our children and taxpayer-funded lobbying and all the other issues we want done, it's because of one main reason. Greg Abbott doesn't want it done. We control everything in Austin, the House, the Senate, the governor's office for 20 years. For 20 years. And we still can't get our legislative priorities done. We had 9 of them this session. Most sessions we have 9 or 10 or 5 or 8. And we always get 1, 2, or 3 done. The reason we don't get any more done is because the governor doesn't want them done. He doesn't believe in them. So I ask you the simple question, if you only believe in 30% of our legislative priorities, are you a Republican?
Nope.
No.
I mean, I'm wondering, are you?
Not at all. No.
I got Democrats that agree with that, many of them.
He's not.
They're Democrats. So what are you? I kind of think you're an RINO. A rhino. Well, the catalyst for me to run happened in March of 20, when Abbott shut everything down. I tweeted out warning everybody what he was going to do, and then after he shut everything down, I put an op-ed in the newspapers, most of the state picked up, begging him to open everything back up. You see, he listened to that lying piece of crap Fauci in New York,
Yep.
and he shut us down.
Sure.
But it's more than that. Because a true patriot always questions government.
Yep.
A true
Right.
patriot never blindly follows government.
That's right.
That's right.
And it's not just that you've got the authority to question government. You are government. You've got an obligation to question government.
That's right.
Yes.
Come on.
And he didn't do it. He put 3 million Texans out of work in one day. 3 million. That's more jobs than we've created in this state in the last 12 years combined. And he made everybody dependent on the government and unemployment. Thousands of businesses were closed. Many of them forever. He picked the winners and the losers and decided who was essential and who wasn't. The Constitution doesn't give him the authority to do that. I never would have done any of that, of course. And then he did close our churches.
Yep.
He closed our churches
Yeah.
on the holiest season of the year.
Right.
Easter.
Yep.
Easter. You couldn't properly bury the dead. You couldn't get baptized. You couldn't get married.
Nope.
You couldn't even, where was the outcry? Where was the governor when you couldn't visit the sick as they were dying? Your mother, your father could have been dying, but they had to die alone.
Yep. That's right.
Alone. Your children had to die alone. Where was the governor? He's the one that empowered the leftists that run our cities and our counties and gave them the authority to do what they did.
That's right.
Kept a mask mandate on us for 9 months. And people thank him for taking that off. That's like thanking a thief for bringing some of your stolen goods back.
Hey, come on.
In the history of Christianity, 2,000 years, we've never closed our churches. You know why? Because we're talking about salvation of souls.
Right.
Possible salvation. It didn't matter to him. It didn't. Well, I don't think I'm any different than you or most of the Republicans in the state of Texas. We're all frustrated.
Yep.
And we're scared and we're angry. And we're tired of the broken and empty promises.
Right.
We're tired of the lies.
Yep.
Is the border secure?
No.
No.
Are your property taxes going down?
Nope.
No.
Do you have confidence your votes aren't being stolen?
No.
I don't either. I've got a comprehensive plan to secure that border. I want to tell you about it right now. You might have saw me on Tucker. On Fox. It's been up on my website since May when I announced. I'm going to finish Trump's wall. We're going to build it for hundreds of miles. And we're going to spend the $3 or $4 billion necessary to get that done. But more important than that, I'm going to use the Constitution, the United States Constitution, my favorite document right here. And that's Article 1, Section 10. It gives the states the authority to do what we need to do.
That's right.
Before I talk about it a little more, I want to set the table for you on the border. When I was in Austin, I was on the border committee for border security in the Texas Senate. So I've been up and down the river in the gunboat, and I've been flown in the helicopters, and I've been to the border several times since we announced in May, since I announced I was running. Border Patrol's telling me right now they've captured illegals since the beginning of the year from 147 different countries. They're saying that 1.5 million to 2 million illegals will flood into Texas in a 12-month period, unapprehended. Unapprehended. We don't even know who they are. We don't know where they came from. And every one of them are being smuggled in by the most dangerous criminal organizations on earth, the Mexican cartels. These people are so violent. Give you a quick example. They're having a trial in Dallas, in Plano, Texas, right now in the federal courthouse. And they were putting in the newspaper what these guys were saying because they've got immunity to each other, these Zetas of the Mexican cartels. One guy's quoted as saying, "I've murdered over 300 people. I stopped counting years ago." That's how violent these folks are. And I can tell you more stories, but you don't want to hear them. Everybody crossing that river is smuggled in by them. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're every month, every year, every few months, and they're bringing all that poison over to Texas.
Right.
Every town in Texas is a border town now. It really is. Well, I tell you that because any way you define it, it's an invasion. And it's a premeditated attack on Texas.
Right.
That's what Article 1, Section 10, the U.S. Constitution specifically talks about. If a state's being invaded and the federal government's not coming to their aid, of course they got a right to defend themselves.
Right.
They can solicit support from other states. They can charge a tax. We can do whatever we need to do. And that's what I'm going to do. The key to my recipe to defend the border is I'm never asking permission from the federal government to secure the Texas border.
Amen. Yeah.
I'm using the entire Texas military and National Guard. There's over 20,000 of them. It's not enough. I'll be soliciting support from other states. We're going to immediately deport anyone that gets across that river back to the other side. We're not enforcing immigration law. We're stopping an invasion. We're going to do whatever's necessary. There's 25 bridges, for instance, over the river. And look, I love Mexico, and I love Mexicans, but they're being a really bad neighbor. They really are.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop all inbound commercial traffic from Mexico. This is strategic. This is to make sure they feel the economic pain until they take back their side of the river and take it back from the cartels and stop sending all those folks over to our side.
Good.
Yeah.
And let me point out something else. Every road that leads to those bridges, every road, you paid for it and you maintain it. Those are Texas roads. And we can unmaintain them. We can do anything we want to them.
That's right.
I'm not worried about the federal government. I'm worried about Texas.
That's good.
Come on. Yeah.
Are you tired of renting your house from the government?
Yep.
You tired of renting all your property from the government?
Yep.
Yes.
I just want to point that out. A lot of people don't think of it this way. Everything you see when you're going home or driving around is owned by the government.
Right.
Your home, your land, your ranch, your farm,
Yep.
your lots, your businesses, it's all owned by the government. It's property tax. They've got a first lien on everything. If you don't believe it, just don't pay it and see what happens.
That's right.
Your bedroom furniture will be out on the curb. And the rent just keeps going up and up. You don't have any control over that. You don't even know what the rent's going to be. You don't even have a lease. It's a bad way to fund government. It's a priority and a plank of the Republican Party to get rid of it. We've talked about it on and off. I've got a plan we've worked on for years. Got Excel spreadsheets. It's a math problem, is all it is. It's a math problem. We can solve it. My plan is real simple. It's going to take about 8 years. We're going to put it on a glide path to zero. All property tax. Take about 8 years. We're going to use the increase in revenue from the state gets, and we're replacing all the revenue we get from that local governments get on property tax, and we're replacing it with revenue from the state of Texas. Our revenues grow at about 8% annually. We're going to take 90% of that revenue growth, and we're going to buy down property tax with it. If we spend all of our money, it won't work, but that's not going to happen. We're going to buy down property tax with it. We're going to move some of it over to sales tax. Sales tax will gradually go up. The property tax is going to go away. The good news is you're going to get to vote on it. It's going to be a constitutional amendment. So you get to weigh in on it. And also, when I cut the head off that snake, it won't grow back.
Woo!
That's why. We're never going to have an income tax. We already got a constitutional amendment against that. But think about the money you could save if you weren't renting your home from the government.
Right.
It's about a third of the mortgage in most areas. It can be as much as 2/3 of the mortgage in metropolitan areas. This is tremendous. It's going to create so much wealth, so much prosperity, we can't even measure it. We quit measuring it at 80 billion to 100 billion overnight in wealth generation. Because 50% approximately is paid by businesses. Your inventory, if you've got a business, is taxed. Your equipment's taxed. This is going to free up businesses to hire more team members. This is going to free them up to create research and development. There's no telling how prosperous Texas is going to be when we get rid of this tax. Now about confidence in our elections. Having confidence in our elections is the foundation of our constitutional republic.
Right.
I mean, what are we all doing if we don't believe our votes aren't being counted properly? When we break that foundation, all heck's going to break loose.
Yep.
Well, I've got a good plan. We've got a lot of laws we passed. Our governor made 4 felonies down to a misdemeanor. He unilaterally changed election laws last election cycle all on his own. He's the one that's violated our election laws more than anybody. But we don't have anybody to enforce these laws. It's about enforcing the law. So I'm creating a new law enforcement division. It's called Government Corruption Election Integrity Division. I have up to 500 officers in it, and that's all they're going to work on. They're going to be familiar with the ballots. They're going to be familiar with election laws. They're going to follow the ballots wherever they go. They're going to know who owns the software. But we probably won't need it because I'm going to make sure we go to all paper ballots.
Yeah.
But we're going to get confidence in our elections. They're going to be there when they're counted. This law enforcement group, they're going to know where the machines are stored. They're going to know everything they need to know. We're going to have a new court system. We're going to have new judges. We're going to have a new venue. Because you're never going to convict a Democrat for cheating a Republican in Dallas County, Harris County, Travis County.
No.
Not going to happen. The district attorneys are Democrats. The judges are Democrats. The juries are Democrats. The heck, they would lose their primary if they brought charges up against a Republican. So we're going to move all that out of there. We're going to get people going to jail. There's a lot of government corruption in Austin, Texas, let me tell you.
Yep.
If you think some government's corrupt, who are you calling? Thank you. I mean, who are you going to call? If you think your county commissioners, your school board, or whoever, your water board's corrupt, you're going to call the district attorney that drinks coffee with everybody every morning?
Nope.
Not going to happen. Well, this group is going to give you somebody to call because we're going to get confidence in our government and we're going to get confidence in our elections. Well, Patriots, these are trying times for us. They really are. We've lost more liberty in the last 18 months than I thought we could lose in 2 or 3 lifetimes.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
I mean, look, good night. They've closed their churches. They've taken your jobs. They've taken your business. Now they're trying to put a vaccine in you might not want to take.
Right.
They're making you wear a mask you don't want to mask. You don't want to wear. What's left to lose? I can tell you, in the Huffines administration, you will never be forced to take a vaccine you don't want to take for any reason.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be forced to wear a mask for any reason either. We're not going to make your kids wear a mask they don't want to wear it.
Amen.
But if you want to walk around in a spacesuit, you can do it.
Come on.
If you want to take that vaccine 10 times, get after it.
Right.
I personally have never taken it, and I never will.
Nope.
Come on.
No way.
I'm never going to take it.
Good.
Patriots, there's no cavalry coming over the hill.
Nope.
We keep thinking, oh, this isn't going to get any worse. Oh, surely it's not going to get any worse. It's going to get worse.
Yep.
A lot worse.
Yep.
And everybody just thinks, oh, it's going to go back to normal. Why do you? Liberty lost is very rarely liberty gained.
That's right.
It's not. It's not going to get any better. You're the cavalry. You're the ones going to have to work on this. You're the ones coming to our rescue. Evil's on the move.
That's right.
It really is. Socialism always leads to communism and tyranny.
Yep.
And the horrors are unimaginable, incomprehensible. We need to draw a line in the sand, just like Travis did at the Alamo. And we can have everybody cross over on it that's with us, and those that aren't, stay on the other side. We need to illuminate the battlefield so we can see that.
Right.
Who's with us and who's against us. This is about good and evil. Socialism's always evil. It always is. But I do get confidence when I come to groups like this and I speak to you. Because I know you understand the fundamental role of government, and I ask that question because it's the lens I look through. And of course that is always to defend your God-given liberties. Then your liberties, of course, come from God and not the government. And it's the socialists who are trying to convince everybody to replace God with government.
Right.
And they're doing a good job of that.
Yes, they are.
But the lens I look through is to protect you, your God-given liberty. And our founders of our country knew that. That's why they wrote the Constitution, of course. They knew this is your birthright. These liberties are your birthright. They don't come from anywhere, from the government. And they knew the biggest threat to your liberties was the very government they were creating.
Yep.
That's why they wrote it, to restrain government. So another way of saying that is, the fundamental role of government is to defend you from government. And that's a fact.
Yep.
You should ask everybody running for office if they could answer that question. What is the fundamental role of government? Well, that's what it is. Well, patriots, this is our time. It's the time we've been waiting for. I need you to pull out your old rusted swords of liberty and help me cut the chains of government. Awaken the sheep from their slumber.
Right.
Awaken them so they too can help us restore the liberties that have been stolen from us. Awaken them to the power of the Constitution, of the free market, of capitalism, and awaken them to Lord Jesus Christ himself.
Amen.
Amen.
This is our time, the time we've been waiting for. This is Texas. We will bend a knee to no man, to no government, for no reason.
Woo!
Amen.
Because this is Texas.
That's right. Yep.
We will prove to not just to the country what it means to be sovereign. We're going to prove it to the entire world what it means to be sovereign.
Come on.
We will not ask permission from the federal government for anything. We're going to light the lighthouse of liberty up to blind those socialists from New York City to San Francisco, down to that swamp in Austin.
Come on.
We're going to prove to them how prospered, how the economic liberty we're going to experience, how prosperous we can really be. This is our time. You know, the word Texas, it used to have a special meaning.
Yep.
It could give you chills up your spine when you said it. We've lost that.
Yep.
But not under Huffines administration. Under a Huffines administration, we're going to get our swagger back.
Come on. Yeah.
Come on.
Patriots, our greatest days are yet to dawn. They're coming now. Join me, Don Huffines, in my campaign to be your next governor. Go to donhuffines.com. Patriots, I'm in this to win.
Yep.
There's a path to victory, and we're on it. We're raising millions of dollars. We've raised over $10.5 million since May. Well, we've got incredible team we put together. We've got incredible endorsements. I'm not in this to send a political message or to make a statement. I don't need a new job. I'm doing this because the job's not getting done.
Come on.
I don't need a new career. I've already got a great career. It puts me in a distinct advantage from anybody else that's running or anybody else sitting in that chair like Abbott. I'm here to solve the issues that affect Texas. I'm not worried about the political consequences. Of course, my opponent, been in office 30 years, is the definition of a career politician.
Yep.
He's never signed a paycheck in his life. While he's been on your payroll, you're paying him. I've been creating hundreds of jobs, if not thousands of jobs. Like I said, I don't need a new career. I already got one. I'm doing this for you. I'm with you. I'm for you. I've been in your chair for decades, fighting for our conservative principles in our Republican Party. I'm here for Texas. Join me in this revolution of ideas. And the only ammunition we need is our love of Texas.
That's right.
God bless you and God bless Texas. for liberty, prosperity, and virtue always. Thank you very much.